So in other words, you were iffy on believing that there was UFOs before this incident.
Well, I had seen things that I couldn't identify, that I couldn't really be sure was a craft. So my belief in UFOs was skeptical.
And now?
It was still open-minded, but skeptical.
And what do you think now?
Well, there's definitely something up there. There's no doubt there's anything up there. Now, what it is, or whether this is from outer space or from someplace within our Earth's atmosphere, I don't know everything. Believe it or not, I thought about outer space, but I also thought about the Chinese, believe it or not, because they were red.
They were red.
It kind of makes you, and I don't think we've got anything like that.
Right.
I've seen a lot of stuff, everything.
So what happened to Stephenville, and what happened to... Now, have you talked to other people that saw the same thing you did?
Oh, yeah. In fact, I didn't have a camera with me, so this was kind of a situation where I felt like, nobody's going to believe me. And then,
but news stories broke out
right after dark. I'm only a couple of blocks from the courthouse downtown, and I got to thinking afterwards, everything that, these things are so big, they're so bright, they came over so slow. There had to be other people to see them. The odds of me being the only person who saw them, that had to have been pretty slim.
Right.
Everything. So,
but later on, you found out.
I started looking for more. I started looking for other people who saw them, and we found two other people who found the same, who saw the same UFO in approximately the same position as it went across, and saw it come across, and was able to triangulate the UFO and to lock its position in as to where it was going across the sky, and pretty much the time, and we viewed it from different angles, and then later MUFON showed up, and
now what's MUFON? MUFON
is they're UFO
group,
I guess you might call it.
Okay.
Everything they show up investigating UFO sites, and they've been around for a long time. They're no association with the Men in Black, who also seem to show up at the same time so quickly afterwards too. Everything. Investigators showed up, and they filed a Freedom of Information Act with the U.S. Air Force, and they refused to give up information. So they turned around and filed another Freedom of Information Act with DFW Airport, who released their information and released their radar records, and we found that they were on radar, and they were tracked on radar without transponder numbers. Anything that flies in the sky is supposed to have a transponder number to identify it, and these didn't, and they showed up on radar. Whatever they weren't U.S. Air Force, they weren't experimental craft or anything like that, because they would have had transponder numbers. Everything in the sky has a transponder number except for a bird. And I was in the Air Force years ago. I was a navigational technician, and I'm familiar with different types of aircraft, and there are no aircraft that look like that. There isn't any. And Area 51 secret project or whatever, everything. So, I don't even believe there's one there, to tell you the truth. I don't believe there's anything there that looks like this. Everything.
So being in the Air Force, you saw many different craft, and nothing looked like this.
And they didn't have anything like this.
Right.
Everything. During the time that I was in the Air Force. I've been out for a few years, but it's not the kind of thing that the Air Force does. And if the Air Force had secret equipment like that, they wouldn't be testing it over small town Stephenville, Texas.
Right.
I just don't believe they would do that, everything, in plain sight of everyone. So I lean more to think that it may have been some sort of spy device, this from China, or you can't rule out the possibility that it came from someplace else. But it didn't come from around here.
Right.
We know that. We don't have any of those things around here. And the sight of them was just pretty amazing. It's the kind of thing that sticks with you after that. You see a streak in the sky, you're kind of amazed for a moment and you go on. But if you see something that just comes right in front of you and you can sit there and look at and examine as it goes by like that.
So this was back in
the properties of it was so strange because it was so close and so large, and yet it was moving so slow in the air in a high wind. It just looked impossible.
So this was back in 2008?
It was in 2008. Everything.
So that was four years ago, and you still I can
still see it just like it was happening today. Everything. It's just as clear in my mind as it can be. It probably always will be. It's not the kind of thing you forget. I guarantee that. Everything. It was just amazing.
Well, hey, I want to thank you so much for your time.
You bet. Everything.